course, losing my father at 10, you get to a point where I understand a lot of celebrity kids where you kind of hide away from, who your father is. And I did for a while and kind of shun away from it. And mine's to give people, the answer to it is, why? Why would you think that? Because it hurt. It hurt so much. And
yeah, it's for the people carrying weight they never show. Trying to hold a family together while they breaking low. For the ones who built themselves with no applause. Still standing tall after everything they lost. This ain't about attention or designer names. This is real life, real pressure, real change. The quiet victories, nobody claps for the long nights. Praying something opens that locked door. Everybody got a chapter full of pressure and scars. Some survived hell without becoming hard. Some learned strength through grief and survival. Some became hope in the middle of denial. And maybe the world never knows who you are.
Hi, I'm Michelle Gresham, co-host of the We Have Range podcast.
And I'm Ivory Jordan, co-host of the We Have Range podcast. Welcome to the space. And today we have...
What we doing today?
We are talking to an amazing range maverick.
Okay.
Eric Lil Eazy-E Wright Jr. And, okay,
Don't forget the junior.
Certainly the son of a legend, which we will get into. But Eric is straight out of Compton.
Yes,
and for
indeed.
those who don't know, that's inner city Los Angeles. Legacy-bred entrepreneur, entertainment executive, cultural strategist, multi-platform creative, working across music, film, television, publishing, and other purpose-driven ventures. I love that.
Appreciate it.
Over 20 years of experience in entertainment, but also branching out into many other verticals is as I've picked up on. You are what we say have a lot of range.
Oh, appreciate that.
You are a father.
Yes, first
Shout
and
out to the
foremost.
parents and the dads out there.
Mm-hmm.
You are a record label executive.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
You are a recording artist and a performing artist.
Mm-hmm.
Fun one, comic book creator and publisher.
Yes, indeed.
Consumer
Yes, indeed.
products founder, music and film producer and actor, technology venture founder, reality TV cast member.
Yes, indeed.
And you also do, you're a motivational speaker,
Yes.
which speaks to also a lot of the nonprofit and philanthropic work.
Yes,
that you
indeed.
do.
Yes, indeed.
So talk about being unboxed.
Wow. Welcome.
Appreciate it. How
Welcome
you
to the
ladies
space.
doing?
Unboxed.
How you
Welcome
ladies
to the
doing?
space.
I mean, that was something.
We want to get to know who is Eric Wright Jr.
Oh, man. Just a young boy that was determined to sit here and make sure that I continue in legacy, and in the process, use a lot of my sorrow, pain, and upbringing to sit here and make sure that I give back to the community. So sums it up in a lot of the stuff that I do.
I love that. I love that. And I heard you recently had a trip to Australia.
Yes. I usually do it 2 times a year. So this year I went to a new spot in Australia called Alice Springs and Cairns.
How was that?
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Usually when I go, I do a lot of my philanthropy work working in Tiwi Island. So I usually always stay about 2 weeks or a week and a half in Darwin.
Okay.
So I did that, and then seeing the 2 different new places that I actually went through. So I've been everywhere: Perth, Adelaide, Narrabri, Gold Coast, Coff Harbor, Sydney, Melbourne. You know what I mean? I've been plenty places. So usually when I go, we try to do a new spot, and you kind of get little homesick of going to the places that people are, you're kind of your biggest fans. So these 2 new places was very beautiful. I went to Green Island. I went to the Great Barrier Reef, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Yeah.
So, and that was on my birthday,
Love that.
So
Love that.
I got to spend
Wait,
my
you
birthday.
can't gloss over the birthday.
Yeah.
I mean, is it a milestone? Every year is a milestone. So
It-
let's not get that confused. But so was there anything special about this birthday?
I was 21 again, I guess you could say that.
Okay. The 21
I love
forever.
that
I like this.
forever.
Well, I would say forever.
The energy of
the
21.
energy of
Yes.
I wouldn't want to be 21, but I want the
No,
energy
the-
of 20.
yeah.
Yes, indeed. So, it was just another great birthday. Most of the time I'm actually off the road on my birthday. So this time to be, in one of the my favorite countries actually to travel to and then be working. It was just a blessing, you know what I mean? So I kind of asked for that blessing continuously to be working on my birthday, you know what I mean? Once they kind of get to that stage, maybe 50 to give me a break, you know what I mean? But when I get to that stage, I just want to be working and still doing what I love to do.
Yeah. Why Australia for your nonprofit work, or is it everywhere?
Well, it's everywhere. Okay. Australia is just like I say, I go 2 times a year, so it became like, home, and they kind of loved me. So the Queen that was there in Tiwi Island, she was like, "It was good to see you again." So I seen her. The first time I seen her was 2 years ago, and when I did this 2 years ago, it was my very first time, and it really just touched me. You know what I mean? Because I went to the Aboriginals island and got to hear their story, the history of Australia, the history of what they do, and more so just reach out and touch the kids because they go through a lot. The fact that they're on island, so they're the 6th largest island in the world. And there's a lot of, suicide rate over there because they feel like they're just not accepted still and will not get out of the island to do anything or feel like they're bigger. So my initial time that I went there was they were big fans of me and my father and, humbly myself, but my father. And just, let them know as far as where I came from and the city that I come from, that we weren't slated to make it out, what I mean, to do it. So, having an individual that came from somewhere tough and, strived, and they never really see anybody, was, beautiful for them. And, kind of just talk to them. Some of them were just fresh out of jail. And then some of them were a school of all girls, you know what I mean? And just kind of just uplift them to sit here and let them know that, the sky's the limit to them, you know what I mean? As long as they keep their education, you feel what I mean? And, strive and have faith that what they want to do, they can do.
And tell us more about the nonprofit. What's your impact? What are you trying to do?
Okay, so my nonprofit is Eric Wright Foundation, and what we do, we help inner city youth that either lost a mother, father, or both parents.
Okay.
And so we give back. We do back to school. We do trunk or treats. We do Easter. We do Christmas. So we do at least about 10 events a year. And so our most recent event, where was I? I think it was Easter. We got a recognition from the city of Compton for the work that we did. And we only been working for about 2 years. So that was a blessing. And now, a certain situation happened in my life, my family, we're transitioning to stopping the violence, you know what I mean, for gang violence with young youths in Compton, California.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. And we reach out. We started that when we got Easy Street, which is the street named after my father in Compton, and in the new center of Compton, which is, grounded indefinitely. So when we got that, we kicked up, me and my 2 sisters, Erica and Sharon, Erica Wright and Sharon Wright.
And you guys have a website and a place to support?
Yes, ericwrightfoundation.com. We have every social media aspect. And so the ladies run it. I'm just the face of it, and it's named after me and my father. And like I say, so we just wanted to give back to the kids. And so now we didn't raise funds to do a hip hop square right there where the street is at. So there are most fans that come out instead of them popping up at our house in Compton and, you know what I mean, waving and saying like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, whoa, who is this?
Right.
Oh, we're from Australia, or we're from England, mate. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
And we want
from around the world,
you know
popping up at your house.
Yes, very
Stop.
much. Yes, I think we were. I think I was just in Australia, and I got a FaceTime from my cousins like, hey, some people from England, are over here, and they wanted to sit here and see you. And I said, wow. You know what I mean? But that's
my gosh.
Just it's all the time. So we want to do a hip hop square where we put a statue of him and all the significant individuals that came from Compton, California. If it's Richard Sherman, Kendrick Lamar, Dr. Dre, The Game.
Right.
Yeah.
So forth and so forth. Even people don't know Kevin Costner. You know what I mean?
Kevin Costner from Compton, California.
Yes, indeed. So
wow, that's a nugget I did not know.
That's on his Wikipedia.
Yeah.
It's fun that you said that, Michelle, because it when Straight Outta Compton came out in 2016, 17, the natives that's in Compton, California now laughed at that because of the fact of there were so many people that hid where they're originally from. And when the movie came out, you just seen like, it was like I went and did a promotional for the movie.
Yeah.
And when I walked in, we all had Straight Outta Compton shirts. They're like, hey, okay, Eric, you're going to stand here. When I walked in, I'm sorry to say, but it was all like 60, 70-year-old, all blonde hair white women. And I'm like, whoa. They're like, yeah, we're from Straight Outta Compton. You know what I mean? I said, what a coincidence. And one of them kept it real to me. You know what I mean? It wasn't something that we were, we wanted to really just establish, but look at what, all the recognitions Compton getting right now. And I said, ain't that something? I said, everybody's coming out of the woodworks, the movie come out. So it kind of shocked me. I walked in. I said, okay, cool. I'm doing a promotional shoot for the movie. And when I walked in, I said, am I in the right place? They're like, yeah, they're all from Compton. And I'm talking about they were all like my grandmother's age, you know what I mean? And it was all, Caucasian ladies.
You've talked about your dad a lot, so I don't want to skip over that. But I know it's also about you finding your own identity and establishing who you are. But you're from Compton. You went to private school. You lost your father at the age of 10.
Yes.
And being educated, what does that mean for you to take legacy, but also finding yourself, defining who you are? So you got your dad, I know maybe there was a period of time there was always reference to him.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I'm over here. I'm over here.
I appreciate it, but it didn't come until, I guess I say I got wise and later in life, and places that I go to out the country where individuals come up to you and say, hey, we want to know you. And I did a reality show, and when I did that, a lot of people... What
was it called?
Growing Up Hip Hop, sorry.
Okay.
Growing Up Hip Hop on...
Micaiah talks about that show all the time.
Yeah, we on
I gotta go watch it back,
TV.
but I count some of them.
Yeah, so I did that, and that kind of grounded me to understand, like, wow, people really wanted to just know me. Because my show, when I got into it, it wasn't about, me really thinking that I was a vision or goal for me to set out and say, hey, it's just, you want to know me? No, I was going to represent a legacy. So like I tell people, I didn't want to do it for myself. I just wanted to take his shoes and put them on the table and make sure they were clean. Then get a case and put over them and let you know what, where I come from, who started this and what he did. And as time went on, and like I say, I go to these places or I did that reality show, I started noticing like individual, like, like that's good and dandy. We had that, like, you ever thought about doing a book on you, or you ever thought about telling your story? And I'm like,
right, because you have a story. You were impacted by his legacy and carrying that forward and all of the stories that you maybe didn't hear about until later.
Very much.
So you didn't get a chance to ask him about a lot of things that you are now getting.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true.
And I also, especially you represent something positive when you talk about the nonprofit, how you've thrived coming out of an inner city community. I certainly, growing up South Central Los Angeles, understand that's not easy
at all.
At all. We're happy to be present and alive, in a lot of instances. So I just really admire that you're representing something positive. But also, how did you parlay that into the comic? That's counter to the culture we grew up in.
Yeah,
in inner city Los Angeles. I didn't see no comic
moving
book.
from the group. Because the group's not looking at comic books.
No,
although I looked at the Sunday Funnies. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, they had comics in it. So
they had comics in it.
They did. So it's a funny story. When my father passed away, I inherited a lot of things. Was in his closet per se, on top of other things. So my grandmother was going through stuff, and she was like, "Hey, they brought all this, his clothes, shoes and all that." And it was like there was a big box of comic books. You want them? I'm like, "Yeah, Grandma, yeah." You know what I mean? So I'm picking through them and all that, and I'm like, some people could probably understand and go back where it had Spider-Man's original comic, which, probably worth thousands, now. And it was when his uncle passed away and he became a wrestler and he went into it, comic book, nerds will know what I'm talking about. And so I always loved it. And he always had me into Ninja Turtles. So
I love the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, most definitely. So I happened to be going on Instagram one day, and a partner of mine, Jay, hit me up. He's a friend of mine now. And he says, hey, we want to see if you would do like a signing. We did an inspirational book on your father, and we wanted you just to come sign them in San Antonio. And I'm like, what would you charge me? I'm like, well, give me A, B, and C and give my flight and a room and I'll be there. So when I went there, it was a big convention, the Comic-Con. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't know this was still really going on. My mind is all into music and other stuff. And I'm like,
I didn't. World.
It is a world.
Oh, it tripped me out my shell. I'm like, I didn't even know this was still like live. So we went there and it was like a 3-day event. And I'm talking about kids galore, people drinking cosmic wear. They were doing everything. And I'm like, I'm staying at the hotel where the whole event is going on in San Antonio. And it blew my mind. And when I say we got up there, and they showed me the inspirational, it's known artist, so his name is Marat, and they do like a poo and a crow comic, characters. And so they did it. They just dressed them up with the Compton hat and did everything else. So we're sitting there, to give you a long story short. And I'm like, all right, cool. You want me to sign these and all that? So they got on an app called Whatnot. And when I say that these people bid and started the stuff off, and I'm not joking, at $1. And when they finished bidding, the comic book sold for about $300 to $500. And we were sitting there for 3 hours and sold. Like I'm talking about, people were asking, hey, can we buy the hat off his head? You know what I mean?
Do you still have your father's collection?
Yes, I still do. Yes.
You kept the collection.
Yes, I do.
So you got that secure somewhere.
Very much.
Do you need insurance on it? I think
right.
I can help you.
Listen, our culture, we need to talk more about insurance.
Whoa,
yes,
protecting your assets. It is not something, it is a financial product that not everyone thinks about.
Wow.
But your expensive comic book collection is not covered.
We're gonna talk to you about that because you need to be looking into that.
But the other thing is, yes.
I gotta know, do you dress up when you go to Comic-Con?
You know what? I have not. I just do
man,
me.
You can't.
I gotta try.
Don't go into their environment and not get into things. You gotta get into things.
Incognito.
It's like going to a costume party without a costume.
Something else, or one of them other kind of parties.
Yeah.
What kind of other party? I don't know where you're going with this.
Eric has heard
maybe Pikachu or the furry. You can go as
I've heard of
I'll probably do more so like like Marvel hero. Yeah, like a Marvel comic, like Wolverine or something. And you know what? That might be actually good because I'm kind of like, a known face in it now. So, because I was going to say, most of the time I'm doing the, the signings and autographings myself. But now, that I'm embedded in it, I'm like, hey, that would be fun to just hop out and say, oh, wow, did you see E wearing Wolverine? And because it sparks up a different conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
And what they do is they take different kind of like scenarios and they draw me. So it ended up going from my father's at that time, long story short, to when I met the individuals, we were just so good and we kicked off. And a lot of the artists were like, hey, E, we want to draw one on you. Okay. So I had 2 different sets where I drew. They had a, comic book set on me. So I go get them. And it's, I really appreciate it because now the ones that I got now that sold for $500,000, I got them all in a gold-plated. Gold-plated little cases.
Somewhere in a bank vault.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I got to take them out my son's room and come bring them to y'all.
Don't tell the people where they at. You gotta make sure you take. Okay, so you're into comic books.
Cut that.
What? We guys cut the part where the comic books are. Yeah, we'll make sure we take that out.
It's all right. It's all right. They gotta go through a lot.
But you started Lil E Records as a teenager.
Very much, yes.
What did it mean for you, or how was it running a business that early in life? And what did you do really wrong and learn quick and figure it out? Because what our purpose here is for you to tell your story for somebody who looks like you, our young men, to know that I can help in my community, but I can also care about capitalism. Because I think we separate the two, that I'm only doing for myself, but I can't be in community. Yeah. But I want these young kids to hear about how you started a business, started the business side of your brain, right? Yeah. Because they only see the finished product. So we're trying to give these little nuggets to help them.
Very much, very much. So it's a trip, Lil E Records. You took me back when you said that one. That I started when I was 16 because going to private school from 2 years old to 14. Wow. I was a kid, of course, losing my father at 10. You get to a point where I understand a lot of celebrity kids where you kind of hide away from, who your father is. Mm-hmm, and I did for a while. And kind of shun away from it. And mine's to give people, the answer to it is, why would you think that? Because it hurt. It hurt so much. And, going to school and somebody bringing it up. So going into 9th grade, my grandparents were like, hey, what do you want to do? My grandfather wanted me to go to St. John Bosco, all boys school. And I'm like, I want to kind of break the monotony, Papa, you know what I mean? And go somewhere else. So he's like, well, you want to go where your uncle's sons are going? My uncle has 5 boys. So I went to public school. Long Beach Milliken. So I still was in that lane of just like going somewhere where somebody knew me, and I didn't want to go somewhere where they all be like, hey, there he is, or, that's Eazy-E's son, or this, that, and the other. So I was, and it's funny, I used to wear a hood, and most people be like, I think the little smart kid, the boy in the hood. You know what I mean? So it's a trip how it, kind of always related to that because I kept a hoodie on and I was shy and I was quiet. I remember I playing football And my coach was like, he's like, Eric Wright, Eazy-E. And I must have just clenched up. And he's like, he walked over to him. I'm like, here. He's like, you didn't know that, did you? He's like, you got Eazy-E's name. And I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Really, really did that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, then, that's my little stories. And so after I started playing football and getting into myself, and something just clicked on me and was like, hey, I guess they say I got stronger.
Okay.
And with my emotions to where I was like, I want to represent of who I am, you know what I mean, and where I came from. So I didn't want to rap. I didn't want to do anything. And I wanted to sit here and get into the business and continue what he did, because that's what he initially started to do, is just wanted to be an executive producer.
Okay.
They happened to just get him in a booth, and he had a voice, and he had a style, he had a charisma, and they were like, everything we're rapping about, you do. So,
and it's a style that literally when you hear it, he has a very distinct.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very distinct, but there was more money. And speaking of like getting back on the
business aspect.
the business aspect of it, your father was trying to be in the space where you make the income.
Most definitely. And he made income he did it from the rooter to the tutor. He's like, I'm gonna be the artist, the manager, and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So I want to sit here and that's when I transitioned to saying, hey, I want to represent a legacy. So I got with my god uncle Arnold White. He owned a record store in Compton, California. And now that I, managed to that, I ended up moving from that school and went to my home school in Compton, California, where my father went, my uncle and my aunt and all graduated from. And I was like, let's kick up and start Lil E Records. Like, Let me like kind of transform and doing that. The whole time I wanted to be an athlete, but I'm saying, hey, this was going to be my, business outside of sports that I had. My mind was just going there to, do things, which, I think I got from my father, because I give you stories on how he was when he was a kid, my age, and what he did.
What was your sport?
Football.
Okay.
Yeah, so I played football. I was a running back, linebacker, but I was just too short. But I had a hard head, so my coach was like, "If we could lay you out and stretch you out, you'd be an All-American." So I love.
There's a lot of kids, but it's okay. They're short kids.
Yeah, it is, and it's okay. You know what I mean?
They're doing okay.
So I loved it, and I said, hey, this is what I want to do outside of that, because when I do go to college, I wanted to be in, business management. And I said, hey, let's kick it off early, since I had a lot of uncles that were still in the business and I could learn from early. So we started Lil E Records, and I had a marketing promotional truck. So most of my friends from high school, when I got to my home high school, would be like, I seen your truck, promoting your stuff, and it had your face all across it. So I did Life and Times of Eric Wright.
Smart business move, exposure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I did Life and Times of Eric Wright, which is a DVD I did with a lot of old footage of my father and myself, and just different things we did of the family and how he started. And we did pretty good. Like when I go out to England and somebody brings it up to me, I'm like, I did that like over 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So that's where I started that. And my, goal was this was going to be my career outside of athlete.
Right.
And having an uncle, like I said, who worked in a record company, a record store in Compton, we pressed it up and we were selling it out of there. We were selling it overseas. We were doing what we do. And by this time I got asked to be in a XXL magazine with Daz Dillinger. So that kind of just sparked it up all around the world, all around in marketing, promoting that, this is what my vision is, what I want to do. You know what I mean? It wasn't the fact that I was going to be an artist. So I left that other school. And by the time I went back to the other school, now you have all these coaches and people like, I knew that was Eazy's son. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, that was just my, very first light in my head that I wanted to be in the music business.
Right.
Being a visionary, that's a visionary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because look at you today. You already knew that you were going to have a path of doing something in music.
Yeah.
And that brings us to you not going in a traditional route in the music industry. You didn't have an album.
No.
How did you influence your way into the space without going the traditional route?
More so, so I started that. I graduated out of high school. Moved out here to Las Vegas, and a friend of mine was like, hey, my cousin owns a record store as well and has a studio. So he has artists that we were going to, but find the biggest artists from Las Vegas. Because if you think about it, Las Vegas doesn't have anybody that just kind of boomed. You have a lot of artists, but anybody say, I'm originally from Las Vegas, and that. So I was like, we called it the Cali Vegas Connect.
Do they have anyone from Las Vegas? I mean, we're filming in Las Vegas right now, and we love you. But you're right. I don't know an artist that's like from here,
Las Vegas.
Like said, I was
That's
born
as
in
big
Las
of a
Vegas,
deal as,
right?
like-
And that's my goal.
Yeah.
That's when I was 18 years old. And I'm thinking just like that. I'm like, they
And
don't really
shoot
have
us if
anybody.
you know.
Yeah, if you are,
They have
we're
some people that
sorry.
live
If you
here
are-
and
I can't
represent.
think
I'm
of-
not sure if Dizzy Wright is originally from Las Vegas, but I know he's based out here.
Yeah.
So, and really, you know, to this day, really, you guys are right. I don't think there really is.
There's
you
a
know?
space. It
Well,
sounds like an
you
open
claimed that lane.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. That's when I was 18 years old, 20 plus years
I'm
ago.
in the lane.
So 20 plus
He's
years
like,
ago,
"It's me."
yeah, my mind was on that. So
Yeah.
I came out here, and it's funny. Out of stories, they're somewhat similar. Is one night, you know, all the artists, you know, finished what they were doing, and we were just bored. And one of my business partners was like, "Hey, why don't you go in a booth?" And I'm like, "What?" He like, "Just play around. We're kind of, you know, intoxicated, you know what I mean?" I'm like, "All right, cool. You know what I mean? Let me go mess around." So me and my brother used to take my father's songs and rewrite them and say our names. It was real easy for me because I could say Eric, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and we just did it, and my partner was like, "Man, like, you got a good voice too." And from that point on, at 18 years old, I was like, didn't think about it, but, you know, hey, I can do the executive producer and artist role as like my father did as well.
You're like, why not? We
You know
we
what I'm
love to
saying?
say
So-
if you can see a representation of it, you can see the
Yeah,
representation
yeah.
of it. So you saw it in your father, and now you are
Yeah.
the thing.
Very
That's
much.
why it's
You're the
also
thing.
very important for you to keep telling your story.
Yes.
Right? Because so many young men are
Yes.
looking for really strong role models.
Yeah.
Do you care about being a role model? Like, I've heard a lot of actors say, I think it was Terrence Howard, maybe he was, let me not quote anybody and get it wrong, but there was an actor that was like, I didn't take on the job of being a role model.
Yeah.
Like, it's a heavy responsibility and people automatically assign it to you, right? Have you accepted that?
Very much, very much. That's
Okay.
why I do a lot of my philanthropy work is because, and why they asked me to do so much because of the fact of some people I really follow everything and be like, you've actually made a change in yourself. You know what I mean? You're educated. You're not scared to sit here and say educate. You have education. And, you know, that was me. You know what I mean? I just wasn't one in the hood that was
You
the
gotta
dumb,
read a
dumb, dumb,
book.
dumb. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, look at him. So you used to
You
make
have
fun of
range.
me. Yeah, he used to make fun of me. And my friends was like, why do you pronounce this so proper?
Right.
Why do
You're
you
not
pronounce
talking
words
You're like,
so-
why do I enunciate when
Why do
I
I
say all the
enunciate my
syllables?
words
You
and
know what I
not
mean?
talk
So-
with a
So
list?
weird.
That
yeah.
I
was
know
a-
it's a cultural
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
We have a lot of range
Yes.
in our Black community
And we can
really-
give grace
And a lot of
space for
dialect.
those
Yes.
people who
talk
say that to
differently.
us.
Yeah.
Totally
So
fine.
when I was young, that
Yeah.
was a joke they used to say here, say like, you know what I mean? Like, Eric talks so proper. You know what I mean? Like, so
Wait, in that tone?
yeah, because the
yes.
only thing that we knew about it
Yeah.
was like, you know what I mean, kind of mimicking, you know.
Yeah,
like
our-
somebody
I-
British, very proper.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So,
I've
and
been
it's-
called Sally from the Valley and all kind of stuff just because I enunciate my words.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And it's a
do.
trip
You
because
do.
when they say that, the Montessori Children's Academy that I went to was the only European one. So a lot of their lot still now, but the owner was like, "Hey, no, we you know, we're founded on a European one." So I'm like, "Hey, wow, what a coincidence." So anyway, they pick it out and they say, "Hey, Eric, you know," and they look about, you know, I kind of every morning try to give everybody the word and the foundation of where I get my strength from because I've been through a lot of sorrow and individuals be like, "Hey, you know, what stops you from breaking?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, really, God, you know what I mean? Like,
Right. Because
just
you
keep-
mentioned being called a boy from the hood.
Yeah.
But I like to say that I'm a girl that survived or
Yeah.
thrived. We like to say thrived out of the
Yeah.
hood.
Yes.
Because I hate that word survival. But when I think about your sorrow that you you said that a couple times
Yeah.
now, it feels painful when you've had loss.
Yeah.
And it resonates from the inner city community kids that that you were trying to reach
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
out to
yeah,
and
yeah.
influence. But I think of that. I still feel like I'm that kid. And you mentioned that you know there are still moments where you are just trying to not think about it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you've always and people kind of were like, why aren't you talking about it?
Yeah.
Because that hurt. I realize I try not to go there
Yeah.
in terms of that trauma from being a
Yeah.
child and
Yeah.
experiencing trauma.
Yes, indeed. It's
Yeah.
tough, you know what I mean? Because once we get older and of course being educated, you start to understand that a lot of individuals, quote unquote, who have a popular or a famous father, you know, and they go through something kind of minute than we have, they get therapy, and we really never got therapy.
Our culture,
You
I
know
feel
what I
like
mean?
we're not talked about.
Yeah,
getting-
yeah.
And I say culture, often the black
The
culture.
The African American
Statistically,
diaspora,
you can
for
read it
sure.
all. We
Yeah.
have not done enough to work on our mental health
Exactly.
and get therapy and get it young.
Do
Very
you
much.
encourage your kids if
Yeah.
there's something you're not feeling for them to talk about it? Because we also have a generation of people, and it's culturally, it's generationally, that say don't talk about feelings. Like kids, especially, we teach our men not to talk about their
not
feelings.
to express.
There's this whole narrative around, the men who have too many feelings. Like, how do you feel about therapy? You mentioned it, and it's our culture not being inviting to it.
Yeah.
How do you welcome it within your space and for your kids if they do
Yeah,
it?
and that's a great question, Michelle. Because myself, coming from where we've come from, Ivory, is
Yeah.
we look at it like, I didn't brush it off and I got through and I didn't need it. But when you think of my kids, I want them to have better than I had.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't want you to sit here and have to go, because if individual went through what I went, you're gonna break.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's so much, and like my son itself, even my brothers,
Yeah.
there's stuff that they go through, and I'm like, as being a big brother, it's like, I don't want nothing that I went through to come upon you. I want to protect my siblings, protect my children. So therefore, now my outlook on that is better than what I sit here and say for myself. So I say, hey, yeah, I teach my kids all the time. Come talk to me. You know what I mean? Let's talk about it. You know what I mean? And do things. I even go to their friends and say, hey, you know what I mean? Maybe you could take a different route than I can. You feel what I mean? And I give all praise to God that my children have friends that are, cousins that will sit here and say, hey, I think that they're really feeling something. So I opened my kids up to it. It took a little while because they kind of just grew up with the same similarities of me to hold it in. You know what I mean? So when I become a man and say, hey, if I talk to them and I start crying with them, I say, hey, it's okay to have emotions. Daddy has them. You feel what I'm saying?
Thank you for saying that out loud, by the way.
Yeah,
because
men
there's
cry.
still that thing
Yeah.
where you can't be both. You can't be strong and also be vulnerable. So thank you for that. Is this a lot of the motivation for your charity work too? Your kids and how you want to bring the world that you want to see, your community?
Most definitely. Because again, I care about them more than the situations that I've been through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Are you
wanna do better.
intentional about where you live or want to? Do your children today live in any communities that look like what you've grown up in?
No, and it's I had a funny story with that.
I never
So,
like to assume.
my daughter, she goes to college now. My 18-year-old, and we live predominantly in an area where it's not a lot of us. And she always, well, Daddy, why we can't go back and live in Compton with my cousins and all this? So I took her a little further than we were at to go to school, and she got a little taste of it. Then about a year later, she comes back, was like, Daddy, I can't even stand this stuff. Like, they just sit here and they want to surround me, or they jealous of me of this and jealous of me of that. And I say, well, here goes. Now let's sit down and have this conversation, baby.
Yeah, why you
this
ain't
is the
living
world,
like this?
You know what I mean, that we just live in. We pray for things to be better, you know what I mean? And this is the reason why I sit here and wanted, better for you guys.
Yeah.
It is, don't get me wrong. Now, if Daddy had the opportunity to be myself to go live in Compton, which I don't want to grow you guys up there, going to school with your cousins and all that, it's easier that we could sit here and maintain with that. But you will not get the education that I want to give to you.
And do you ever feel judged for now living away? Because even though I only spent my adolescence in inner city Los Angeles, those were some of the most impressionable and impactful years of my entire life.
Tell me about it.
And then I call it like, I don't want to equate, I'm trying to think of the right words to use, but doing a stint with that something is traumatic. I don't want to compare it to like war, but like for every day that I lived there, in my experience, every day when you're hearing gunshots, you're hearing the birds, you have friends who are dying who are your age and you're only 13 and 14 and 15 and 16 years old. And there's like 10 funerals in 12 months and they're all teenagers.
Tell me about it.
So I try to think, even though that wasn't my entire childhood, even living there and moving away, the people from there are like, oh, you moved out, you changed, right? Yeah. And then when you move away and you're there away from so long, all of a sudden your experience is not as valid because you've lived away for so long. So how do you like represent being somebody who is from the community, impacted by the community, and still trying to influence the community, but not necessarily being a part of the community?
A part of the community. Yeah. Well, because one, I guess it's just like what would you say, the stamp that I put in when I was in the community, and that if I ever went back, there's nothing you could say. So what I tell people now is like, okay, gang violence is. I talk to a lot of youth about gang violence, and it's like the respectiveness that they can take from me is the fact of why, because I go back to when I do Eric Wright Foundations, we do it in Compton. We're doing it in, Ludus Park, where Suge Knight is from. We do it on my side of Compton, and I'm there, with the kids. You feel what I mean? I have a respected background where I'm from, and when we grew up, that was our goal. All the individuals that were inspiration to us, my father, quote unquote, or any other my uncles or my father's friends, where we wanted to make money to get out. We didn't want to make money to stay here and do all this mess. So what I tell people is like, there's only two ways with gangbanging. You know what I mean? You're either dead or you're in jail. You want to sit here and you want to strive to want to do better, because that's the goal. That's the model that we gave everybody. We do good. We strive to want to get out of this, because there was nothing else that they wanted from us over here. Is just to sit here and continuously kill each other or be at each other. So what are you doing it for? You know what I mean? Like I make a joke with them. I'm sorry to say it is, it could take a joke and a seriousness. Is you hang around in the hood and you hang around these neighborhoods. Do you know you trespassing? Because you have no property over here. So it's gangster for you to sit here and have a storefront, a house, or anything. That's what we call gangster with the individuals in my circle. You know what I mean? Not for you to sit here and feel like I'm beating my chest and I'm Billy this and I could go this or I could pick up this and, do this to nobody. Like, what is your goal or aspects in life? Do you want more for your children, your mama? You want grandma to get up out of here?
Yeah, what is your purpose?
You know what I'm saying? There's different things. So, and another thing is I still own my property in Compton.
Right.
So I still got to go there. My mama's still there. My sister's still there. My grandmother's not too far from there.
Right. You're still representative
I'm
of
still
that
there.
community.
Yeah. So,
you're still having that impact.
Yeah. So it's never going to be looked at like, if there's an individual, don't get me wrong, that have maybe said that or spit that out their mouth.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, how could they say that? You know what I mean? But look at all the things that I'm doing around. And I own my house over there. I'm not trespassing nowhere.
Do you think Compton has the ability to change for the long term in terms of what
Very much.
we see on TV?
Very much.
How much do you think social media or media plays into the negative aspects of what happens in some of our inner city communities versus what is often
Actually
a lot of good and what is happening? What's the reality?
The reality is it's tough, you know what I mean? And it takes a village and it's work. So another thing that I do is I work with the mayor, you know what I mean? Work with city council. I was working with city council when I got the street. So having those relationships that I come back and I do things for them and then you. So I do things for autistic foundations. I do things for everybody's foundation where I work with them once I started mine. And so the mayor hand in hand with us is we're doing everything they can to clean it up, to make Compton a better place. You know what I mean? We got the new Compton, new centers. And what I try to influence them is let's start doing things for the kids now.
So are we years away or are we decades away from Compton being looked at as like, I don't know, let's say Culver City or Santa Monica or Los Angeles?
I would say a little less than decades. Why? Because we have the popularity. So when it comes to the popularity and we know all these individuals, and that's another thing that I tell a lot of
money starts to come.
Yeah, entrepreneurs in my city or young ones that want to be entrepreneurs. I say, do you imagine how many people, just like I was telling you, come from out the country and on things, and when they want to go see Compton. So what we need to start doing is start creating things that we can get, income from these individuals coming here. So we need new businesses. We need a restaurant. We need a brunch place. We need places where individuals could come and actually relax and have fun being in Compton, California.
You need
That's how we want
workforce development.
Yeah.
So that the people that live there can also work there.
Yeah.
Almost definitely.
Yeah.
And I keep saying that that's one of the solutions. Like, you're going to bring the money in, but how do I'm big on education. And I know that you are growing up, going to private school and making it a center for your kids as well. But the one thing that I realize that a lot of our communities just don't talk enough about is how do we give our people the education?
Yeah.
Because that can't be taken away from you, right? We can do all of the book bag drives and things like that. But I would love to see a lot more focus on education, whether it's taking a trade, not going to college necessarily.
Yeah, taking a trade
but
is my number
taking
one.
a
What
trade,
we do.
right?
That we represent them to do.
So powerful.
Yeah.
I would love to figure out how I can support your organization.
Oh, I appreciate
I think that, us having a platform, sharing with other people, we got to talk more about how we feed our communities.
Most definitely.
But feeding your community comes from you also having some live money coming in your entertainment and in your comic book stuff, but you're also in film.
Yes.
I think that there are some projects you worked on, Rich and Ruthless. Is that a
That's my company.
That's the company. Bomb Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Bomb Pizza. And I think we have a clip of I Am Bone.
Yes, indeed.
That you were recently in.
Yes,
Let's see what that looks like. Okay, what's your role in the movie?
I'm a detective here. So I Am Bone is a true story of an individual that was in juvenile hall, and he got sexually assaulted.
Okay.
And so he wanted to come out and tell his story. And his story was about how this cop actually was doing this and getting away with it. So I'm a detective that wants to go investigate this cop and put him away.
So-called officer before. But once we abuse our power, you no longer are one of us. And as you all know, our job is to protect and serve the public. So tonight, justice will be enforced. You got it?
Oh, this is like...
Let's go.
You look like a serious detective.
Yeah, but tough undercover.
Officer Mueller?
What do you need?
Okay, where can we go find this? This is like...
Oh, it's on Amazon right now.
Is this where you're moving to next? You're moving into film big time?
Yes, very much.
And so it's out now?
Very much, yes. It's out
I
now.
Am Bone is out now on Amazon.
Yes,
Amazon,
indeed.
Okay, if you want to check out that movie.
I'm going to watch that on the plane tonight.
Very interesting. We'll give you feedback.
Yes.
And then for some people who are like, I want to be an actor one day, you're doing it. And so and we mentioned entrepreneurs, especially trying to have young people in your community becoming entrepreneurs. What do you say to the people who are like not feeling ready yet? Like, do you ever feel like at any point in venture that you were breaking into, and you've done many, multiple businesses, serial entrepreneur, is there a moment where you're like, I'm 100% ready, or does it look like something else for you?
More so, I live off what my grandmother tell me. There's nothing you can't do that you don't. I mean, there's nothing you can't do that you don't put your mind to do. So, when I kind of really think about what I'm doing and you kind of put the work in, you'll be all right. You'll be fine. I kind of do it. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of nervousness in it. Like this scene that we just showed. Yeah. The first time that I played a serious role as a cop, like Bomb Pizza that you mentioned. Yeah. It's comedy. So I'm playing myself. You feel what I'm saying? And it was like, we're going off the top of my head with a lot of the, comedy shots and doing, but this right here role, I played a detective that's investigating this officer who assaulted a lot of individuals. So it was the first real, serious role that I played. Right. At this time, did I feel I was? No, I did not.
You did it anyways. And we like to say, you do it scared.
Yeah.
You hear that? You're not, in my mind, I don't care who you are. You're never going to feel 100% ready when you're doing something new. Yeah. And how does it become the thing you do until you do it?
Well, are you more comfortable doing the comedian? I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah, I just wanted to explain. I
love that. But are you more comfortable in comedy or drama? Because I heard you make the distinction.
Yeah, so it was the drama. Usually I play a hitman or I play a tough, street cat.
Yeah.
So the comedy was real fun. You know what I mean? And it was that cast and that crew was big. It was Marcus Polk. We had Snoop in it. Ray J. We had tons of artists in it. So that was
Are you a natural comedian?
Oh, that was when we're kids and coming up from Compton, California, if you couldn't do the Joneses, which we call
I was about to say Jonan.
Jonah, yeah.
That's not a word now. We just aged ourselves.
I know.
Right. I don't know what the hell y'all talking about.
I be sitting over here like, what's Joan?
Okay.
But I learned that from my uncles too. But if you couldn't do it, basically it's your mama jokes. You know what I'm saying?
You like joking on each other. You're ripping.
I know. Your mama's so fat she leaves stretch marks in the bathtub.
So if you couldn't get off.
Is that one?
That was one I remember. That was your mama.
So that was easy, but I wanted to get more into scripted and drama. You feel me? So this was hard. And thanks to Frank Powers, who was the director on there, his wife, who's actually my partner in that scene, she's an FBI agent. Straight up, that's her profession. Okay. You know what I mean? So just getting cute tips from her and learning from her. You know what I mean? How a cop comes in. You know what I mean? How do you scan the room, what's the demeanor. They helped me a lot. And again, I was kind of nervous and like, man, can I do this? Like, it's nothing for me to sit here and learn the script.
Yeah.
It's bringing life to the script.
And bringing the character.
Yeah.
And speaking of characters, would you do a comic movie or comic
superhero?
character? Like a
Oh my,
superhero?
yeah, what? Yeah,
Yes,
I
I think-
my range has got up there. Yeah.
Wait, is it already in the universe
how he
cooking?
came
Are you
alive?
already cooking
No.
on that?
My show, you asked your Range Mavericks, what makes you come alive? I just saw comic character made you come alive. So for the movie execs, shout out to your boy.
Yeah, I did different stuff. So I'm also doing
Because you're gonna dress up like Wolverine anyway.
Oh, my goodness, I would.
100%.
Yes, I
Black
would.
Wolverine?
Yes,
Are you
I
kidding me?
would. Yes, I
That's
would.
gonna be fire.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm open to that. And again, I want to do just different ranges of characters outside of my natural habitat, which is being the street cat. Don't get me wrong, I love it. So I'm doing another one now called Operation Get Money.
Okay.
And,
What is it about?
Operation Get Money. I'm playing it's a street cat that wants to sit here and he's corrupting the government and the city councils of getting money to sit here and build a kind of like empire. So
Okay.
I play his muscle. You know what I mean? I play his muscle, and then that director picked me up for another movie that he wants to pick up. So again, I'm just another street cat that's kind of into the family business.
Actor with a lot of range.
I like this
I
for you.
I
Acting
like
is
it.
hard too.
It is
It's
very
very much,
hard.
yes.
It is very hard.
And as
yeah.
the COO of the Hype Network, I know that you're creating and positioning the platform different. What are you going to do outside the traditional entertainment realm? Like you're already moving into film, and some say if you're in music, it's a natural transition to
it
all
can
the
be.
areas of entertainment. But how do you see positioning the Hype Network?
More so, I just
And talk about your role as a COO, actually.
Right. New
So
title.
Yeah.
So I just came to bring just. I keep using your word, huh? Your word. Get more range to it. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's marketing
You
promotion.
help justify our brand, don't you?
Yes,
worry.
you
It's all
do.
good.
And you cannot wear out a word because we're a trend.
There you go.
We're a-
There you
We
go.
are a trend.
There
So-
you go.
You are a trend.
Yes,
Yeah.
I appreciate
So
it.
that's our word.
It's
We
marketing management and promotions company. So it falls in the line of the business that I'm in already and do. You know what I mean? So, the boss, Dominique Hippolyte was, traveling with me and working with me, doing a lot of executive work for the tours and shows that I've been on. So in her piggybacking that, she just fell across into, new artists, new connections and everything like that. And actually doing social media management for me. So it just kind of just broadened the horizon of like, hey, we're kind of like, Batman
There's
and Robin.
alignment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Batman and Robin. So I just kind of brought more life to it and more range to it with putting her in places to where, it made sense for the company.
Yeah. And when you're wired the way us multi-rangers are.
Multifaceted. I gave you the
say
label
multi-rangers.
multifaceted.
But yes, doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
We have a lot of range. We all seem to be doing a lot of things. How do you decide as a serial entrepreneur what is like, yes, that's money, let's go, or no, I know I've spent money, this sucks, but I got to drop this shit?
Real talk. Yeah, I just went through that. It's true. You said that.
Okay, so tell us
Yes.
how you navigated something like that.
Just being in a business for a while, and I was telling her, my partner, Dominique, that there were some things that I kind of, she'll know when she's like, hey, you were kind of hype about this one, and then this one you're like, you sent it and shot it to me. Well, I was like, I want you to vet it out. You know what I mean? Why? Because just being in a business, you kind of, when it's smelling a little, don't want to use the word, but it's like it just doesn't make sense. It's a person that's
Were
giving
you
a lot of
just in our
compliment.
conversation? Because I think we just had the same, the same exact. You got to sniff it out.
Yeah, you definitely
You
got
got to sniff it out.
And I just have
Sorry,
a
I mean,
good.
already.
No, you're good. Yeah, I appreciate it. And I just have a good sense to do that.
Yeah.
Being in this business a long time, coming across the Ice Cubes, you know what I mean? Dealing with the Dr. Dre, dealing with DJ Yella, dealing with different executives. When I was younger, I worked with Babyface. You kind of understood and learn it. You know what I mean? When I was younger, I used to get excited about everything. Like, I want to do this, that. We could do all of it. And then when individuals are going to come at you, when they taught me with everything in the book, you know what I mean? Everything in the kitchen sink, you know what I mean? All of it doesn't make sense, and all money's not good money. So I learned that at a young age.
Yeah.
And so I just tell her, hey, vet it out. You know what I mean? I will tell you the A's and B's, and if they can't sit here and get with the C's and the D's, then
It ain't happening.
they could get the F home.
We can't just collect checks to
You
collect
know.
checks.
No,
Because now
you
you're
gotta know when to
aligning your
say no.
brand with something that's not who you are.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about, as we build a brand, that it's really quick to just totally erase the brand if you do the one wrong thing.
Really, it definitely will.
And
be.
we're still
It definitely
seeing
will.
people even in the area where they say there's no cancel culture.
Yeah.
Someone just got canceled. I feel like a new person get canceled every day.
Oh,
Yeah, I think, but you know, cancel is just a new word about for reputation.
For
right?
reputational.
Like your brand reputation
massacre.
is the only thing you have control over.
Yep.
You control your narrative. You control who you do business with.
Yes.
I mean, we have to remember that everybody doesn't deserve access. I feel like it's been a theme as we talk to people.
Yeah.
How do you give people access?
How do you give people access when you're climbing?
I have a problem with giving too much access. And then again, you know, you start understanding of, you know, when you need to cut it down, because I'm humble. And that's the thing that kind of got me more of my success. Of individuals feeling like, hey, you know what I mean, you were, you know, accessible, or, you know what I mean, you weren't like the average, you know, entertainer, and some feel like you're too better than. So, but it some of it, maybe 5-10% of it will sit here, come and bite you and saying, hey, yeah, I don't know why I just gave this individual my information to sit here, reach me. So, you know what I mean? Like, Dominique, you want to start sitting here and vetting these people out?
I know. Listen, Dominique, we've had to do some sniffing.
Yeah,
of some
sometimes
people.
you gotta just be like, no.
Yeah.
It was really nice to meet you. I hope to see you at the next event.
Most
Right.
definitely.
Like that's the way
Most
to not
definitely.
be giving your really great to meet you, because you know
Or it's
instantly
really great to
sometimes
meet you
when I don't want to have the follow-up drink or dinner, right?
Yeah.
But you mentioned Ice Cube. I see you got your Raiders hat on.
Yes.
Are you a Raiders fan?
Oh my goodness, good question.
Oh, is it? Because you're representing them well right now.
no,
Right.
where
And we're in Vegas where the Oakland Raiders
Vegas
I
right
wanted
now.
to sit here and represent for Vegas, you know what I mean, and the culture.
We can't move on. What about the hat?
but
Tell us about the
well,
hat.
it's part of the culture, and not to sit there and say that, but being out here in Las Vegas, Mark, which he knows who he is, the marketing management at the Las Vegas Raiders, are good friends of mine, and they looked out for me. I performed on the stage twice.
Okay.
I performed on the field, did a presentation on the field, so they always show love and take care of me. So you know what I mean, when I'm in
Shout
town,
out to the Raiders.
it's you know what I'm saying, I'm a represent. Antonio Pierce was a good friend of mine who was a coach 2 years ago, and I just always gave love and appreciation. They made sure that I was you know, on the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Had access and everything. But I am a 49er fan. But I tell people it's hard from the individuals from the Bay Area. They're like, hey, you can't be both. Well, you know, I'm not from out here, so I don't understand that little rivalry.
Wait, no. And you know what else? You don't pay me.
You feel what I'm saying? Listen to me. So,
Okay,
I'm
let's
a 49er
start there.
fan, but I got love for the Raiders. And again, it's the
you have
environment we're
range.
in. Yeah, very much.
We can be more than one thing.
Very much.
Two things can be true.
Two things can be true.
Yes.
I can be a authentic fan of the 49ers, and I can have a admiration and appreciation for who the Raiders are.
Yes, and then my father.
You know what?
marketed
And I
them.
can appreciate people who perform at a certain level.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Okay.
So you've used the word "we have range" a number of times. I
Yeah.
guess we can now hand off. You are one of our range mavericks. You've
appreciate
graced our presence today. We've talked about a number of things. You know, you having the foresight and being a visionary early on
Yeah.
to start your own record label, knowing that you want to impact your community with your philanthropy work.
Yes, indeed.
You're moving into the film realm. I mean, you're illustrating range, and you're not saying, because I come from this legacy of music, I'm only staying in music. I want to do this. I want to do that. And you've built a brand. Your personal currency is giving you access to all of those things.
Most definitely.
If you had to leave one thing with our viewers, and we call them Rangers.
Rangers.
We have range. There are Rangers. What is that one thing that you would leave them about business and about community? And they can be the same, but just that one thing.
About business and community. It was a good one. You know, with community, if you respect and appreciate the community came from, because we all are a product of where we came from, you know what I mean? They'll give you the love to want to sit here and make sure that your community is built up and represented or protected in a certain nature. Me being from Compton, California, my community is all, you know, I had a father representing Compton, and he didn't take me out the hills. So I was with grandma and grandpa and born and raised in Compton, California. And, you know, that built me of who I am and gave me, you know, the strength of the individual that I grew up to be.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? That was just being a product of my environment. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that it's represented and it builds up with me. You know what I mean? And weren't going to sit here and keep it stagnant to the reputation that it had, because again, the range of individuals that we had come out of there, you know what I mean? Still to this day, the Kendrick Lamar is, one of the biggest artists is in the game right
Kevin
now.
Costner.
Shout out to K-Dot.
Yeah.
No, Kevin Costner. We
Oh,
learned
my
that
goodness.
today.
Yes,
What
yes,
the
indeed.
hell? I did
The
not know
Bushes,
that.
did you know the
Either.
Bush?
But you
Papa
know-
Bush.
Who?
Barber.
Papa Bush.
Papa Bush?
Yes.
Bush Senior?
Bush from Compton.
Really?
Wait.
Yes, go look it up. Yes,
I didn't know that either.
Wow.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
the
Let's see if it's
assumptions-
on his Wikipedia.
Yeah, but assumptions people
Yeah,
make.
so,
Listen, Bush Senior, I learned I was today years old
So I
when
want
that
to just build
happened.
it for real. I just want to build it up to what it is. And with business, you got to learn it. You got to learn what you're getting into. You know what I mean? Stay true to the craft of that you want to be in. You know what I mean? And once you learn it all, you got every, I dot and T crossed. You feel what I mean? And your paperwork straight, you know what I mean? Sky's the limit of what you can do.
Yeah, you're talking about hard work, though. In today's culture, is work-life balance overrated? Because you sound like you do a lot of hard work.
Oh, a whole lot. I think a family member reminds it like, hey, you've been moving, like you just need a rest. That's
Is this
just
what it
me.
takes?
Yeah, it does. It does. It does. If it's a few words and inspiration I have about work, but the individual that puts the work in is gonna reap the benefit.
You hear that? You make deposits and you can get withdrawals.
Yeah.
What was your takeaway today?
You make deposits and you can get withdrawals. That's my takeaway. And what I mean by that is when you give back to the community.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
When you recognize where you're from and also have the foresight to move about the earth and the world
Yes.
and go to where you're headed, there is a way to connect the dots. Two things can't be true. You can be where you are from, but you can also bust out and become so much more.
Yes.
Very
You don't have to be the backyard.
You don't have to choose.
You don't have to choose.
Yeah.
And that's
You
the
can have a lot of
authenticity,
range.
right?
And that's authenticity. And I also learned that people just need to stop expecting you to be one thing.
We don't have to be one thing.
We
And
don't have
and
to be one thing.
I think we represent that.
Absolutely.
Eric, you absolutely
You
represent
absolutely
that.
represent
And
so many things.
This is going to be so important for a lot of kids to see because they probably have you in one space, in one lane. And I know the one thing that I've been told, I need to talk more about the things that I do
Mm-hmm.
because people are watching you even when you don't know that they're watching,
Very
right?
much, yeah.
And you're making an impact, and this is going to be very impactful. So tell everybody, where can we find you?
Oh man, they call a lot of people do social media, so I'm Lil Eazy-E _E, littleeazy.com, gethype.today. You know what I mean? You can find all
And
the
your
aspects.
nonprofit where you can find
Eric
it one more
Wright
time.
Foundation, Eric Wright Foundation on Instagram,
Dot-
ericwrightfoundation.com.
.com.
Yes.
Because go donate, support the community, go support Eric and all the things that he's doing.
And you hear that. You never know. Someone who could run the country could be from Compton, California.
Apparently, Barbara
yes.
married well.
Right. All right. And there's more culture
Yes.
in that White House than we ever knew.
Absolutely.
And so definitely follow Eric Wright Jr.,
Yes.
Lil Eazy-E's
Appreciate
son. And we appreciate all the
I
range
appreciate you guys.
that you represent
Most
and really sharing your story. And we want to encourage everyone to subscribe to the We Have Range channel, subscribe, share. This story could change lives.
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. They're leaving TikTok. We're on
We're on
too. We're still trying to
We
figure out the
baby
TikTok
stepping.
thing.
We rate ourselves a 2 out of 10. Don't go on TikTok judging us.
It's
We
a
know.
space that we're trying to move into, but we're gonna
Okay.
have to make some decisions on that. I feel.
Someone needs to manage it. Is it
Yeah.
in the budget?
I
Hello?
don't know.
If it can clear the budget, we will get a TikTok expansion manager.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. But again, Eric, seriously, thank you.
I appreciate
This
you
has
guys.
been so dynamic. I can't wait to see all of the movies that you're going to
most
be
definitely,
in.
most definitely.
Yeah.
The spaces you're moving in are incredible. Bring the community along. I know that you will. I know you will continue to make an impact.
Most definitely.
And that's what it's about.
Thank
We
you
all
very
can do one thing. We can make a small impact. So thank you.
much. No, I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank
That's
you.
a wrap. Peace out, Rangers.
We have range.
You don't gotta be famous to be seen. Some of the strongest voices come from in between, from the shadows of the world, chasing impossible dreams.